and welcome back to the HCCTV Student Lounge. This is a show done by HCC students for HCC students to give our opinions in news, entertainment, and what's going on in our school. My name is Kyle Aragon. How are you, Carolina?
Hi, Kyle. I'm good. Thank you for joining us today. Today, we will also be joined by Benjamin, Andres, Eric, and Josh. And we will have our very special guest, Katie Rangel, who is here to talk about pastry. But first, let's move on into our top three news of the week. Now, if you're feeling heat in Houston, in Southern California, some parts of it, the desert, experienced record-breaking heat on Sunday. This Death Valley hitting 130 degrees, the hottest temperature area that has been recorded since July 1913. Kaya, have you felt any heat right here in Houston?
Yeah, it's been pretty hot outside. I'm not gonna lie. I wish I could be at the pool some days, but we gotta do what we gotta do. I know in Brazil it gets way worse than here because I was actually doing a video regarding that. Because over here we have like AC everywhere we go. In Brazil we usually don't because electricity is so expensive. So we're actually doing good. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I still complain. I hate heat. In Colombia, we also have like those fans instead of AC. So it's better if we're inside. But however, I feel hot outside, so I hate it. Now, school officials in Oklahoma say a student knowingly attended classes with the coronavirus on the first day of school, thinking it was safe to do so because she was symptomatic. What do you think about that, Kyle?
That's really polemic, but I think kids, they don't have too much like thoughts when coming to the head. It's fine. I'm just a little bit sick. It's not a big deal. But actually, I've seen cases that the person got one time and she thinks that just because she had one time doesn't mean she's gonna get again. So I saw this case of this woman that she had for the second time and she was going to work because she's it can't be coronavirus again because I already got it. She was wrong. It was coronavirus and she infected the rest of the people. So, like it shouldn't be, if you're feeling sick, it shouldn't be school. Doesn't matter if you're not sure or not if it's coronavirus.
I know, just don't take the risk. They did not, well, they thought that they not had to quarantine for the 14-day period, and that's why they went to school. But that's messed up. Let's just stay at home if we feel sick. Now, the 2020 NBA playoffs began. They will be the postseason tournament of the National Basketball Association's 2019 and 2020 season. The playoffs were originally scheduled to begin on April 18. But however, the league suspended the season on March 11 as a result of COVID-19. Now, let's begin our first topic, which makes way to a great discussion. Would you eat sushi, chicken hearts, or chocolates if someone paid you like $1,000? I don't know, Kyle. What do you think about that?
So I can't say sushi because I love sushi, so that for me would be easier. Same thing for chicken hearts, but when it comes to let's say I want to ask the guys from here since I'm biased when it comes to that. So first, let's start with Benjamin. If someone offered you $1,000 to eat, you could choose a cricket or chocolate ants. Which one would you eat?
I would swallow them all for $1,000. If somebody was giving me $1,000, I would. How about this? They would make me a sushi roll, raw sushi, put the ants and put the chicken hearts in there. I'll eat that for $1,000. That's my standard.
I would charge $3,000 in this case.
I missed on that now. I just went for the $1,000. Should have been like $3,000. You get a whole package, but I guess I'll stay with my $1,000.
That's a good question. What about you, Eric? Which one would you have to eat out of all those three options?
Well, Kyle, I'm sorry. I couldn't eat sushi, raw food like that. I mean, $1,000 is a lot of money, but I couldn't do it. I mean, I've never really tasted sushi, but I don't like the way it kind of looks. If it was $3,000, maybe okay, but so I think I'm gonna go ahead and pass on sushi. So yeah, you can go ahead and have that.
Maybe some crickets or not even crickets.
I might try that. Now I will say that I'm willing to go out on a limb for that, but the sushi goes, I think I'll pass.
There's a lot of protein, right, in crickets. I know you like that, so.
Good point. Very good point.
What are you gonna say, Benjamin?
I was saying, what's the worst thing that can happen if you eat sushi? You'll just be stuck in the toilet for like one day. If anything goes wrong, you'll just That's really it. You just have to deal with that. It's $1,000. I mean,
Well, when you put it like that, I guess it makes a little more economical sense.
Well, it depends because if you do need to go to the ER room, then like you're done, boy. All the money you're gonna make, you're gonna spend and plus more. So sometimes you gotta think about that too. So what about you, Andres? Which one would you have to eat of all those options?
I think I pass. I really pass. I can do it. No.
No.
No, you have to pick one option.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure. It's really difficult because how much is 2,000, 3,000?
1,000. You're
1,000.
right.
Okay, I understand. No. I don't have any options.
even the
Okay.
chocolate ants, like you don't even. It's like little chocolate ants, just covered in chocolate. And, just the chocolate and the little crunchy, and then it's like, and it's gone. $1,000.
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. What about you, Josh? Of those options, would you eat any of them for $1,000?
You'd be hard pressed to find anything I wouldn't do for $1,000. So yeah, I take any of them.
Okay, perfect. That was a good discussion. So, Carolina, what are we doing now?
Well, great answer, Josh. Now let's move into our special guest. Who do you have for today, Kayo?
Today I have Catherine, well, we say Katie Rancho, and she's going to be talking about pastry. She's instruction coordinator of the the pastry. And we have a few questions for her related to this topic. So first of all, thank you so much for being here. And
Thank you.
And we would like to start first, like, can you please share with us, I know we have a new building, I actually had the chance to go there, and I shot some pretty interesting things over there. So share a little bit about, like, what is HCC doing for the students, what's new on the pastry, and then also culinary. I know there's a new division now, for example. So share a little bit about that with us.
Yeah, so this is the first semester that we've divided our department. So for years and years, we've been the culinary arts department, and we've both fallen under that umbrella. But now we're officially culinary arts and pastry arts. So we have our own little space now. And into 2020, we moved into a brand new state-of-the-art culinary building. It's so beautiful. Everything is brand new. The workstations are super nice. And we were able to work there until spring break last semester. So hopefully we'll get back in there middle, maybe at the end of the semester, we'll see. But it's so beautiful.
Yeah, bad. And there's actually, if I'm not mistaken, there was this plan for the students to cook, and I had the opportunity to do that at the 3100. We had like a HCCTV meeting over there, and we all went to a lunch, and we had like a 5-course meal, and the food was delicious, and it was really cheap. It was like, I think like $20, and had like a 5-course, and that was so good. Like the food, like I was feeling like I was literally like in a really fancy restaurant in Houston, because everything was perfect. The service, the food. So you guys had the plan to do that in the new building, correct?
Yeah, and we have a beautiful dining room, a great space for it. We call them our a la carte lunch, and typically you can register for the event, go to lunch, go to dinner. It's a prefixed menu that the students put on start to finish. So they create the menu, they help seat the guests, they make sure they wait your tables, bus your tables, refill your drinks. They create all the food. It's really beautiful, very delicious, high quality. So it gives them a chance to showcase their skills and gives the general public a chance to test out what they learn.
Yeah, it was a great experience. I'm excited. I really hope we can start that again, and take advantage of that, because again, it's great price for great food, and it's so worth it. So we have mentioned before, and I think a lot of people get like confused with the terms like culinary and pastry. So can you tell us what's the difference, especially now that you guys divided the two different courses? So like, what's the main difference between them?
Yeah, so culinary arts is hot food. So if you think of chicken, steak, soup, sauces, bread, your big main staple meals. And pastry arts is really about refined pastries, presentations, cakes, weddings, special events, plated desserts, breads, rolls, croissants. It's more specialty. And as far as what's the difference, we were talking about how do you cook stuff that's left over in your refrigerator. baking and pastry is very specific and precise. So that's a big difference if you're a student and you're looking for, maybe your little creativity in both, but planning and really following the recipe and understanding the science behind baking and pastry. And culinary, there's more creativity in the moment, perhaps, where you can adjust and kind of personalize and make things your own.
Nice. Well, every time you mentioned those foods, like I started getting hungry because I started imagining all of them. It's like croissant and this and that. I was like,
Yeah, I have the best job in the whole world.
And honestly, I don't know how you're that skinny, because honestly, like if I was like in this part of Korea, I would definitely be overweighted because I would be just baking every single day. So it's impressive, and you probably have like healthy recipes, right, too? Because
yeah, so, and I think that's more and more, especially with younger people, younger students, that's more and more the trend, is people are looking for the sustainability of what they're doing and where their food comes from, and health goes in line with that, the quality of ingredients. Maybe it's some special dietary needs like vegan or gluten-free or something like that, no dairy. So we do offer specialty courses where you can learn to do some of those things a little bit more in depth and better, especially in baking, because everything that you change in the recipe produces a different outcome. So you really need to know the right technique and science behind it in order to get it down well.
That's a good point. Yeah, I was discussing this with my girl because she's been trying to cook healthy. It's good, but it's not the same. The consistency, the way it feels like when you buy it, is different. But at the same time, it's healthier, so I feel a little bit better about eating, So, and now let's talk about, since you talk about ingredients. So how important is to choose like fresh ingredients, or maybe like quality branding too? And we talked a little bit before about that. But does HCC has a person who's responsible to choose those ingredients? How does that work?
Yeah, so all of the ingredient procurement, the ingredients that we're looking for, it comes from the chef. So we put together an order, and then we have people that help us order and get the food actually on campus. But yeah, we talk a lot about ingredient function and quality of ingredients and what your standard is, because it has to do with pricing, it has to do with health, it has to do with seasonality. There's a lot that goes into it. So really helping our students understand what choices to make, when to make those choices, and why. It's really important going into this industry. We were talking about baguettes a minute ago, and in France, baguettes are legally 5 ingredients. And in the US, if you pick up a baguette from H-E-B, for example, it may have 29 ingredients listed on the label. So it's really important to know what are those things that you're ingesting and how they affect your body.
That's a good point. So, and this aspect of cooking and choosing ingredients, you're teaching that virtually. You mentioned to me that some people have access now to virtual classes with you, where you go through the steps, how to bake, how to cook something. So tell me, how does that work?
Yeah, so we just put out a calendar. We did a few classes over the summer, and we're doing a whole bunch more between now and December. So it's open to the general public. They just have to register at the link for the certain course that they're interested in. So we do everything from baking bread at home to making cookies with kids to doing some decorated cakes and cookies, some specialty holiday recipes for some Jewish cookies, some Christmas cookies. So yeah, it's a short course. Usually it's an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And I give the recipes, people sign up, we meet together via WebEx, and we make the recipes together. And it's been a lot of fun. Families have been involved. I've had a lot of the same people come back, repeat customers, because they really are able to understand a little bit more than they would attempting on their own and having a good outcome. So yeah, it's been really fun.
It sounds really tempting. I would definitely like to give it a try. I think I can get some good baking skills so I can start baking on my own. So one last question, and then we're gonna open up the questions for the students. So how important is the design of the food? Because I know that it's important to have a food that looks, pretty, because you want to eat. Or sometimes you don't even want to eat because it's so pretty that you don't want to touch the food. Like, oh my God, I don't want to destroy this plate, But how important is that, and especially in pastry, taking care of the design?
In pastry and in culinary, the way your food looks is the hands down the most important. People are going to look at something and say, "Ooh, I don't want to eat that," or "Yes, definitely." If you've seen a donut that's like 8 hours old versus a donut that was just fried and it's super light and pillowy and perfect and steaming. You want to pick the perfect one, right? So when we're talking about plated desserts, or we're talking about celebration cakes, or even food on a buffet or whatever, presentation is everything. And one thing that's really unique about HCC is that the students have the ability to do that every single lab. They create something, they plate it, they take a photo of it for their portfolio. So it's a lesson that they learn at what textures, what flavors, what seasonality, what colors, everything that goes into creating it. So it's really a very fun career for a student because there's a lot of creativity in it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Now let's move on. I know you gotta go, so let's finish that really quick. So Eric, what would you like to ask her?
As a big fan of Italian food, is there any particular dish that you could recommend if I want to start my own kind of Italian culinary arts?
Italian food. The options are limitless there. My favorite traditional Italian dish is tiramisu. I could eat that every day. It's so delicious. I'm a huge coffee lover, so that's a great one. And we were talking about healthy recipes. I've been making a fettuccine alfredo with a coconut milk instead of heavy cream, so that's a great option to try. But yeah, the options are really endless. So there's a lot of really delicious cookies. Actually, you know what you should do too is when there's not coronavirus, check out the Italian festival, because there's a lot of sampling and you can get a lot of local restaurants, family-owned restaurants, and have a little taste of everything there is.
Sounds good. Thank you, ma'am.
What about you, Benjamin? I know you have an interesting question to her.
Yeah, so I've been looking at this trend that's going around. Gluten-free this, gluten-free that. I want to see, is there anything that you would recommend? Like, I know with pastries just being like almost everything is going to have like flour and stuff. Anything that you would say that, it's pretty delicious that doesn't have gluten?
In I would say the last 5 or 8 years, you can duplicate so many things. I mean, we have a great gluten-free bread recipe that uses tapioca and rice flour instead of regular flour. If you've ever had pan de queijo, the Brazilian bread, that's made with tapioca flour. It's friggin' delicious. There's all kinds of cookies and brownies and cakes. You could do something lighter like a traditional chocolate mousse that has no flour in it. That's very luscious and rich and delicious. So there's a billion things you could try.
It's interesting that you said that, because I'm from Brazil, so I eat a lot of pão de queijo, and I also eat tapioca, but I didn't know that pão de queijo was made of tapioca, so that's really interesting, and I don't feel that bad for you.
It's so good.
That's interesting. I feel better now. I'm like, okay, I'm from there, and I don't know that, but good to know. So, there is anyone else that would like to ask something before she leaves? Anybody here?
I want to ask you something. Have you ever cooked something strange? Something really, really strange?
I don't know if I've cooked anything all that strange. I've done some exotic things like using exotic fruits, things like that, but not anything too weird. I did see on the internet this weekend that a young culinary student crushed up a bunch of grasshoppers and mixed them with some cookies for her pie crust. So you could try that out, but maybe I'll try that out and see how it tastes. I don't know. It's a little scary, but that's probably the strangest thing I've seen recently.
I would definitely eat it for $1,000. Who wouldn't? I would definitely.
I would.
Okay, well, Katie, I think that's it for today. Thank you so much. I know we went a little bit over the time, but I really appreciate you being here today. I think this is a really fun show, and I think everybody's gonna laugh a lot and also learn a lot from what you shared with us today. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for asking me. Thank you guys. See ya.
So now, what's going on now, Carolina? You tell me.
Well, I think I usually say that let's move on into our much fun part of the show, but everything was fun today. So let's keep it fun. What shows are out, Caio, that you want to talk to us about?
So today I want to talk about The Game Changer. It's this documentary that I've been watching that shows that people don't need to eat meat in order to get all the protein they need. So the movie actually show a bunch of athletes and how they change the diet to eat more like vegetables and natural fat, for example. And they did a test in which they had like two players, I think they're football players. They eat like protein from meat, and the other player, he actually is a vegetarian or vegan, and he actually only eats protein from veggies. And then they took out their blood after like 2 days, and they did a test which they separate the plasma of the rest of the blood, and they show both results, and you can see that the one that had eaten meat had a lot of fat in the blood. The other one was like clear. So it shows that doesn't matter, where you're getting your protein, especially if you're getting from meat, you're gonna get a lot of fat from it. So I thought it was really interesting, and that was my favorite part of the show. But I don't know if I would be able to become vegan, but I'm considering eating more like healthy foods and vegetables. So since you were talking about culinary, I think it's important to share this part of trying to be healthy. And they show some really interesting food in there too. So I definitely recommend that for you. So who's next? Who would like to share something interesting?
So I wanted to talk about the movie Ratatouille, the Disney Pixar sensational hit. It's about a little rat named Remy, and he has this strange passion for food. And him being a rat, rats just eat anything, right? But he has this like passion for the food, and he has this I guess his conscience turns into his favorite chef, Gusteau, and it just goes along with the story of how he actually becomes basically a chef by controlling a human being in a restaurant that doesn't know how to cook, but he controls him, and that's how the story goes. So I'm not gonna say much more because I'm gonna just spoil the story. Beautiful story, beautiful animation, so go check it out.
Okay, well, I want to recommend the movie from '05 called Charlie and the Factory of Chocolate. It's the remake of the classic Willy Wonka movie from the '70s. It's directed by Tim Burton, star Johnny Depp as the main character, Willy Wonka, who is the owner and founder of this amazing candy factory that makes everything from chocolate to whatever you can think of as candy. It's around about these 6 kids that are competing in this contest for a golden ticket, and one of the main characters' names is Charlie. It's a very good story. It's rated PG for all ages. Tim Burton adds his own unique take to it with dark fantasy, and it did pretty well in '05. And to me, it actually is better than the original. So it's done by Warner Brothers, and I do recommend it for everybody. Thank you.
Okay, so I want to recommend a documentary series that right now is in Prime Amazon. You can find that documentary there. The name is Parts Unknown from Anthony Bourdain. This documentary is about the food around the world. He traveled around the world and he showed the different food. And one of my favorite chapter is when he met the former president Barack Obama in Hanoi, Vietnam. They went to eat in the local restaurant. They ate noodle soup, and it's one of my favorite chapters, one of my favorite episodes. So right now you can find that documentary in Prime. Very good.
On keeping on the subject of food, a movie I would recommend is the 1997 Nickelodeon film Good Burger, starring Keenan and Kel. It's about 2 teenagers who work at a burger joint, and a rival comes across the street, and they fear that they're gonna be put out of business, so they need to come up with something that'll keep their joint afloat. So they come up with a secret sauce, but they're afraid that the rival company steals it. And it's a classic movie, good for the whole family.
Perfect. Thank you so much, guys. I think that's it for today, right? Unfortunately, it's time to say goodbye. I would like to thank you for watching us. And don't forget, stick to the end because we're going to show the meme of the week or the funny video. Okay? So again, thank you so much for watching, and I see you next week.
Well, also don't forget to send us your opinion and send us topics that you would like to discuss. We will have some new plans for our new season as the classes for fall semester start on the 24th of August for the regular session and September 21st for the second start. So we'll see you on the next time. And I got hungry, so I brought a donut. I'll enjoy it. See you next time. Bye.